Aw, childhood. We look back on those days with rose-colored glasses, riding bikes around town, playing with friends in the basement, meeting our first love, getting hunted by a monster from a nightmare mirror version of our reality. Oh, guess that's just these kids. Netflix's Stranger Things returns for its third season this summer, so let's get you caught up on season 1 in 5 minutes. It's 1983 in Hawkins, Indiana, home to the Hawkins National Laboratory, where they're clearly up to some shady business. You know, seeing as a scientist gets obliterated by something. Across town, after a 10-hour marathon of D&D, Will Byers leaves his friends Mike, Dustin, and Lucas and heads home. But along the way, he encounters the creature from Hawkins' lab. Everyone eventually calls it the Demogorgon, so let's just go with that. It corners him in his garage, and just as the power starts to surge and cut out, Will disappears. The next day, Will's mom Joyce reports her boy missing, and her old friend, Chief Hopper, gets right on the case. Yep, right. He gets to it eventually. But while the search parties prove unsuccessful, Joyce gets a distorted call that seems to be from Will, which causes the lights in the house to go haywire. Meanwhile, the folks over at Hawkins National Laboratory, led by creepy Dr. Brenner, are working on figuring out how the Demogorgon escaped, presumably from this gross breathing wall. The Demogorgon wasn't the only one that escaped either. So did this mysterious girl, one of a number of the lab's experiments, 11. She's telekinetic, so that's cool. Mike, Lucas, and Dustin find her in the woods and bring her back to Mike's house to hide her. 11 seems to know that Will is hiding somewhere from the Demogorgon, but it's unclear just where that is. We get a clue though after Barb, best friend of Mike's sister Nancy, disappears in the same fashion as Will did after a party at Nancy's boyfriend Steve's house. She's hunted down by the Demogorgon in a dark, scary version of Steve's backyard. Back at the Byers' house, Joyce does some insane house decoration, creating a Christmas light Ouija board that Will is able to communicate with. He tells Joyce that he is right here and to run because the Demogorgon is tearing through the wall! But could it have been Will? Hard to say, because the authorities pull his dead body out of the water at the town quarry. Nobody buys that it's really Will for long though. 11 uses her powers to help the boys hear Will, and Hopper breaks into the town morgue, cutting open the body pulled out of the quarry and confirming that unless he had a disorder which replaced organs with cotton, this is definitely not Will Byers. The boys figure out that the real Will is in the dark mirror version of Hawkins, which they and 11 call the Upside Down. Turns out that there are a few gates into this world, like the one in Hawkins' lab, and another that Nancy and Will's brother Jonathan find in a tree. Hopper's investigation into Will's disappearance, and the cover-up being orchestrated from the lab, lead he and Joyce to a woman named Terry Ives. Though Terry has been catatonic for years, her sister says Terry believes Dr. Brenner stole her daughter right after birth because she had psychic powers. Powers that we're learning also grant her access to a void, which she can use to project herself through space to spy on people, like Russians. Ah, the Cold War. But this void also leaves her vulnerable to the forces of the Upside Down. An encounter with the Demogorgon caused her to open the gate to the other world in Hawkins' lab. Dr. Brenner and his agents finally locate 11 and try to apprehend her, but when you're trying to catch a girl who can tear holes in the fabric of reality, you need to do a little better than a utility van. Hopper finds the kids and reunites them with Joyce, Jonathan, and Nancy. They go to the town middle school, where 11 has them construct her a sensory deprivation tank out of a kiddie pool, so she can enter her void to find Will and Barb. She finds Barb first, and she's super dead. She locates Will hiding in the upside-down version of his fort just long enough to tell him help is on the way before she loses her connection to the void. Hopper and Joyce try to break into the lab to travel to the Upside Down, but they're caught by Dr. Brenner's agents. Hopper agrees to tell Brenner where 11 is and to keep quiet about the lab's activity, in exchange for being let through the gate and into the Upside Down. Dr. Brenner and his agents storm the middle school to take 11. It doesn't go their way. All that carnage attracts the Demogorgon, who bursts through the wall and attacks Dr. Brenner. It corners 11 and the boys in a classroom, but 11 uses her power to destroy it. But she vanishes in the process. It's not all bad news, though. Hopper and Joyce find Will and bring him home. He seems fine, at least for a month or so. That's when he coughs up some kind of nasty slug and, just for a second, slips back into the Upside Down. That's everything you need to know about Season 1 of Stranger Things, but now you're only halfway through your homework. Check out our recap of Season 2, and as always, be sure to follow and subscribe wherever you like to watch IGN.